questions as well and let you know how we intend to help you through this journey if you've made a decision to start the CFA qualification. My name is Sheyi Oshibolu. I am a director here at Ivy League Associates. I'm also a CFA charter holder. I think I finished my CFA qualification in about 15 years ago, and I've been teaching for quite a while. More people know me through the ACCA qualification. In 2020 or a couple of years ago, Ivy League actually started providing lectures for CFA. So this is not our first year, but we had a constraint at that time, COVID plus availability of tutors, because the qualification is actually a very tough one. Choice qualification, the number of members or charter holders we had in Nigeria at that time who were also willing to teach was quite limited. And so we made a decision to hold on it. So I think we did it for about a year or so, and then continued with ACCA. But now we've looked at the market again. We've seen a lot of people enroll in the CFA program. A lot of people have actually qualified. I think we have about 400 charter holders now in the country, if not more. And you know, we beyond that, we have those that are willing to also help others get through the journey and you know, teach the curriculum. So that really is the incentive, that really is the drive behind making the decision to restart our CFA lectures again. So once again, thank you for joining us today, and I hope you will have a good time with us. Please, if you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat box. And if you're unable to type, just take note of the questions. There will be a Q&A session where we will take all your questions. And at some point, I would also pause during my presentation to also know if there are questions that you may have. And then at some point, I would also introduce Yemisi, Osei, and Dimeji, who are, you know, panelists that will join me later on during this session when we will discuss some of the key questions that you may also have to ask. So I'm going to start off with the CFA program, but a little bit again about, you know, I think CFA program, yeah, the eligibility and exam format for CFA level 1, curriculum overview, key things that will be covered, and our approach to tuition for the level 1 exams. There is no doubt the CFA qualification is the gold standard when it comes to the investment profession. It's the most sought after, it's the most recognized, respected qualification in the investment profession. So employers really see it as a qualification that shows that you have a stamp of competence, of knowledge, of excellence, of technical rigor, and all backed by, you know, ethical credibility. You think of the CFA qualification, there is the ethics and professional standards topic area that cuts across all the 3 levels of the exams, which clearly shows how the Institute takes ethical issues seriously. And obviously, as investment professionals, sometimes you're managing people's money. Sometimes you're advising them on how to invest their money. Sometimes you're advising on what the economy is looking like and what is likely to look like. Sometimes you are positioning investments in various asset classes. You have to do that with an ethical framework. And so the qualification actually does embody that. It's very practical. I'm sure you saw in one of the videos that was played earlier, where the managing director for education was talking about the extent of rigor and work they go through in developing the curriculum. So when we say curriculum, we actually mean the entire body of knowledge. So that really contains the topic areas that candidates are to study. There are about 10 topic areas, and the learning outcomes, the readings under each of these topic areas. So it's something that is well developed, covers all the areas you can possibly think of in the investment and asset management profession. I've really not seen a qualification that is that deep and broad in a particular sector. And then obviously career mobility and flexibility as well. Because it's a global qualification, I think in 2025, the numbers actually show that about 260,000 students, registered for the exams from 178 countries. So that shows you that practically every country in the world is represented. And each country, most countries, I must say, do also have the CFA Society. So, for example, we have CFA Society in Nigeria. We have one in the UK as well as several societies across the world, which makes it easier for you to connect with like-minded professionals, for you to network, and for you to also learn from others who have gone ahead in the sector, in the profession. I think different people have different reasons why they do the CFA qualification. If I'm to share my own experience, looking back in retrospect, I've not worked actively as a portfolio manager, for example, or an asset manager, but all my experience has always been, particularly, since the very early years in my career, has always been in the financial services sector. So whether it's asset management companies, banks, insurance, private equity, capital market entities, VCs, I've always dealt with those entities. And one qualification that I actually give a very high level of regard to in terms of the knowledge and the depth of understanding that you get is the CFA exams, because it's sometimes perceived to also be difficult. Uh, 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 Even if you don't end up managing people's money, or as an economist, or as a trader, or as a sell side analyst, or whatever you may call it, you would really appreciate the knowledge you will gain from it, and the doors it will open, and the things it will make you understand, especially in the world that we're in, where things are, somewhat quite complex. And financial products, financial market, financial systems are becoming more complex and complex. On my next slide, I talk about what it takes to be eligible for the CFA Level 1 exam, or to be a candidate. You can either be in the final year of a bachelor's degree program, so you don't have to have a BSc yet before you can start the CFA program, or you have 4,000 hours of professional work experience, or a combination of the two. So whether it's education or professional work experience, that totals 4,000 hours. And valid travel passport, international travel passport. And obviously the name you will use to register with CFA Institute should also be the name that is clearly stated on your passport. And obviously be able to take the exams in English and then adhere to the CFA Institute Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct. So I think the eligibility criteria is quite broad and open. Whatever you study doesn't really matter. Whether you're an accountant wanting to write the CFA exams, or whether you studied geography or whatever, doesn't really matter. We have people from diverse backgrounds, and I'm hoping that someone from my panel today will be able to share their own thoughts as well. I'm hoping not everyone there had a finance background before starting their CFA exams. And I also, as I also said, university students as well, especially those in the final year of their degree programs, can also start the CFA program. So level 1 consists of 180 multiple choice questions. So that is divided into 2 exam sessions. You would have about 2 hours, 15 minutes for each session. I think you have a chance to go for a little break within each session. I think it is also not mandatory if you want to take it at a stretch. But if you also want to take a short break and then come back in, I think there's like a 30 minutes window where you can do that. It's a computer-based exam. Obviously, when I wrote it, it was paper-based, and so we had to shade because it's MCQ, so you had to shade A, B, C, or D. But CBT makes it easier. And obviously, that is why the exam is now available in multiple windows. So I think it's written 4 times a year now. So you can write it in August, you can write it in November, you can write it in February, and I think May. So 4 times in a year. We are preparing students for the August exams for this lectures starting today. Now, after this period, we are likely to move to a standardized period for our lectures, wherein we will prepare candidates for November exams and June exams. So candidates that want to take the exams in, let's say, February 2027, would have to join the preparation for those taking the exams in November, because that would most likely start in July 2026. And then candidates that want to take May 2027, their lectures will start January 2027. And then that cycle continues. But because we are starting for the first time this year in February, we have decided to prepare candidates for August exams. That gives us enough time. That gives you enough time as well to study. I'm going to be talking about the hours that are required to prepare for your exams. And so what I normally say is there are usually a lot of dropouts at level 1 for the CFA exams. And that's because motivation varies. Different people, start the exam for different reasons. Some start it because this is really what they want to do. Some start it because of the knowledge. Some start it because of the hype. I don't think you should do the exam because of the hype, because it's going to take a lot from you, because it is really worth it. So you should actually find a genuine reason, perhaps something that would help fast track your career, or maybe you want to make a career switch, or maybe you are just interested in financial markets, investments, asset management, all of that. then you should have a very strong motivation for taking the exams. So yes, so this is for the August exams, and we'll take it on from there. Now, the CFA program, as part of steps to earn the charter, there are 3 levels. Each level has its focus. The key focus of level 1 is basically understanding investment tools and ethics. But again, I must quickly emphasize that ethics cuts across the levels. So it's important that candidates are very comfortable with it. In fact, ethics has the largest weight in terms of the exam questions, as you will see on my next slide for level 1. So the fundamentals will be taught in level 1. So things like being able to understand financial statements, analyze financial statements, basic macroeconomics and microeconomic concepts, and then equity investment, the various asset classes, equity investment, fixed income, alternative investments, and then some other tools as well, including derivative investments as well. So all that will be covered in level 1. And then level 2 focuses more on those asset classes and more advanced analysis, valuation. So a deeper dive into those areas. So the asset classes carry a higher weight at the level 2 stage. Level 3 then tries to bring everything together, where you will be, constructing portfolios, understanding individual and institutional needs, managing portfolios, planning wealth, planning for the future, using various tools that you've learned in level 1, level 2, to then bring everything together, including the broader capital market expectations, macroeconomic expectations that may feed into your analysis and advice for clients. The average pass rate for level 1, level 2, and level 3 are what you have there. You'll probably see that it increases. It's not increasing because people are necessarily smarter. It's increasing because the people that want to really do it are the people that progress to level 2, and the people that want to really finish it are the people that progress to level 3. And when you're at that level, you already know what it takes to get through it. So level 1 is probably small because you have a lot of people that start and maybe do not really know what it entails, which is why it's good to go for tuition, speak to people that have gone through it, and get the techniques that would also help you pass the exams easily. Remember that this pass rates only reflects those who passed and doesn't really show you the number of attempts. I remember when I wrote my level 3, the view then was that only very few candidates pass level 3 at first attempt. But I think that has changed now because there are more resources, more tuition centers that are available now to help candidates through the process. And so hopefully that has also impacted on progression positively as well. So we have 10 topic areas, and what you have there is the exam weight. Now, what this means is that, for example, out of the 180 questions, about 15 to 20% of it will cover ethical and professional standards. And then 11 to 14% of it will cover financial statements analysis, and then down that way. So what this means is that first, I think I need to state a general rule. It is generally believed that to pass level 1 exams, you should score at least 70% or in all the key areas. I have not said in all the areas, but that is really what is implied as well. So for example, imagine a situation where you score highly in derivatives, economics, corporate issuance, quants, alternatives, but poorly in ethics. That candidate is not likely to pass. Okay, because ethics is so important. And as you can see, the weight is very, very heavy. This is not an exam where they typically give you a score, like this is what you got out of the 180 questions you attempted. It's often more of giving results in percentiles, where you are able to determine how you stack up compared to other candidates who wrote the exams. So nobody really knows the minimum passing score. For example, other qualifications like ACCA, we know it's 50%, 50 marks, and you've passed the paper, but that's not exactly the same here. So generally, it is believed that you should target 70% in each of the topic areas. So obviously, that's a higher level bar. But then also important to ensure that you strengthen your knowledge of the topic areas that carry the much higher weight, as shown on this slide. Just a very brief look at what each one is about. So as I said, ethics is the background. It's the framework that enables you to do the right thing, and sometimes also to even know what the right thing is, and to also avoid various conflicts of interest that could arise as you do your work. And so that's usually a very, very interesting area. I really did enjoy it when I took the exams, because obviously you are reading various scenarios, you're understanding various ethical issues that could arise, and also how to deal with that. Financial statement analysis will take you through understanding income statements, balance sheets, cash flow statements, and some line items in the financial statements and how they can impact the performance and financial position of an organization. So whether it relates to non-current liabilities, non-current assets that an entity may have in its books, it's not really from the perspective of you being an accountant. So you are not trying to confirm whether the entity has complied with IFRS or accounting standards, but trying to understand the facts behind the figures, right? Trying to understand what these numbers actually mean from an analysis perspective. So you are really doing more of analysis. So if the entity says, for example, that they have decided to treat certain leases in a particular way, rather than the way it should be treated, what impact is it going to have on their cash flows, what impact is it going to have on their EBITDA, and things like that. So it's really from an analytical mindset perspective. Equity investment throws you into understanding equity markets, understanding valuation of equity, structure of equity instruments, and various valuation methods that are available as well in determining that. So you would understand how equity markets work, and how so equity instruments are also valued. Then we have fixed income. So for those instruments that give you fixed return and maybe some level of assurance that you may get your money back, you will look into that area. So you will have to deal with understanding various types of fixed income instruments, how they are issued, various interest rate structures. Perhaps time value of money would also be important in that area. how to value certain fixed income instruments, for example, would also be taught there. Then portfolio management, obviously you're trying to bring the asset classes together and ensure that your asset allocation policies actually meet the objectives, if it's related to a client or an individual or an institution, whether it's a pension fund or proprietary assets that you are managing. So it is critical at that level to understand certain portfolio management theories, 2-asset portfolio, 3-asset portfolios, and how asset allocation decisions are made and why it is important to stay diversified. For example, focus on the client's objectives and various basic tools that are required to advance to the other stages of the program. Alternative investments will look at other asset classes beyond the traditional ones. So, for example, candidates would understand private equity, how it differs from venture capital, VCs, commodities, for example, distressed assets investing, real estate, infrastructure investing. So all the alternative investment classes that are different from fixed income and equities. And then quantitative methods, always good to have some level of mathematical understanding because you'll be dealing with numbers. So candidates will be introduced to time value of money concepts, hypothesis testing, some statistical tools as well at that level. You don't have to be super proficient in mathematics to get through this. I feel like these are concepts that anybody who put their heart to it and who understands what the tutor is saying can easily get through those areas. Corporate issuers will look at the area of corporate finance, basically. So key topics there will be if an entity is investing in assets, what appraisal methods, for example, will they use in assessing such investments, and other areas like perhaps working capital management, business valuation, and things like that. Then you have economics. Economics looks at a bit of micro, but more of macro. So topics, so international trade, monetary policy, fiscal policies, for example, understanding business cycles will be taught there. And then derivatives will look at the various derivative instruments, how they are structured, and the types of derivatives. Focus will be on forward contracts, futures contracts, options, and swaps. So as you can see, there's hardly any area. So whether you're a trader, you're an equity trader, fixed income trader, currency trader, or derivatives trader, or an economist, or corporate finance professional, or an investment advisor, or an investment strategist or portfolio manager, whatever aspect of this field that you love or that you currently do, you will definitely find the depth and breadth of the CFA qualification very, very essential. So next I talk about the exam day essentials. So typically you're advised to arrive early to the exam hall, and then that is obviously based on the confirmation you would have gotten via email on in terms of your center and the fact that you've been enrolled for the exams. You will need a financial calculator, and that's the Texas Instrument BA2 Plus or the HP12C calculator. Most people use, at least most people that I know, use the Texas BA2 Plus calculator. So that's something, and I think you can probably get that around, or maybe even order it online. I think it's probably somewhere in the region of $50 or so. That will be required there. And that's because you will need to do some calculations that only a financial calculator can do. So the typical Casio and scientific calculator will not be usable. You are often advised to get extra batteries for your calculator. If it's fresh and new and you know that the batteries are perfect, that's okay. But we've seen scenarios in the exam hall where it's in the exam hall that the calculator decided to pack up. So sometimes it's good to have extra batteries. And then, as I said earlier on, valid international passport, and then manage time properly. So typically about 90 seconds for each question. So very important to not spend too much time on a particular area. So in terms of our approach, I think we have been in the business of teaching for so long that we know what it takes to pass a professional exam, okay? And what it takes to support students with getting through a professional exam. And sometimes this approach is cuts across, regardless of the professional exam, as long as it's a professional exam. It is also then beneficial when your tutors are tutors that have gone through the particular exams themselves. So we will ensure that our preparation and every tuition that we do is aligned with the CFA curriculum, because everything that will be tested is based on the CFA Level 1 curriculum. Our classes will be live online classes. So there will be no face-to-face lectures, at least for now. And at least for this particular exam session, or this session we're preparing for, which is for August exams. So please, live online classes. Live online classes has its benefits, but then also has its downside. It's not all good. Of course, the benefit is that sometimes they are recorded. You can rewatch it. You can get access to the videos and all of that. And you can take your classes from anywhere you are in the world, as long as you have access to the internet, and various other benefits. But obviously, a possible downside is distraction. So you have to ensure that you are not distracted. Discipline is extremely important getting through exams like this. So the tutor will need that assurance that candidates are actually, present, and they are focusing on what is being taught. That is usually easier when it's face-to-face. But at Ivy League, all our lectures are live online classes. Classes will take place on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. We have not planned Friday evening classes into our lecture plan for the level 1 lectures, but there may be a few situations where maybe a tutor is unable to finish up what they had to do over the weekend, and they are trying to organize extra class. There is no way an extra class can be done on a weekend, because the weekend is, practically swamped. So that may happen Friday evenings, but as I said, we don't envisage that currently, because we have built in sufficient time for tutors to complete their various sections within the allocated time. Lectures would happen on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 11. That's the first period, obviously, except for today. 11 to 1, that's the second period. So that period too will not happen today. And then there will be a 1 hour break, which is from 1 to 2 p.m. And then the third session would happen from 2 to 4, which would happen today, and then 4 to 6 p.m. On Sundays, we will be starting by 11. So there will be 3 periods, 11 to 1, 1 to 2, and then a 1 hour break, and then 3 to 5 p.m. And that will be all for Sundays. Now, obviously, this is a kind of exam where you have to take all the topic areas for the level. So you will effectively be having lectures across all those time that I've mentioned. We have also made a decision to pre-record some of those topic areas. So some of those topic areas are pre-recorded. What that means is that you will have access to it well ahead of time. You can watch the videos at your leisure where the tutor lectures the paper. Those pre-recorded areas are for the, if I can just go back a bit. So that's for the last 4 topic areas. So you will see that those are the lower exam weight areas. So quants down to derivatives. Now, there will still be live classes for these areas, but it would allow the tutor to focus more on question practice during the live classes and perhaps giving you key summaries of what you need to know in those areas. So over time, we may move all the topic areas to pre-recorded so that that gives tutors more time as well to teach during live classes and also gives more time to practice questions. But for now, it's those last 4 areas. The other 6 areas will be taught from beginning to end during live classes. Okay. Remember, if you have any questions, just take note of them. I'm going to pause after this to take any questions that you may have for now. And then we go into our panel session. And then after that, we continue with Q&A. Our lectures will be from, I'm going to project I don't think I have it on this slide, but I'm going to project the lecture plan. So starting this weekend, I expect it to end. Manager, if that's something you can talk through, I can give you the flow once you have, maybe you can put up the spreadsheet just so that we can see the dates specifically. But just prepare for that. I will call you when it's time. So we hope to finish very early and then give time for revision. So we will have a couple of weeks as well to revise all the concepts and then also do mock exams. We also, because we are starting this early for August exams, that would also give you more time to study on your own because we'll finish lectures on time, we'll finish revision on time, and you would have a couple of weeks to yourself to tighten up any loose ends. Each of the topic areas have a lead tutor. So you will get to know your lead tutors as they introduce themselves in classrooms. So please, if you have any questions, you need any support, you need any help, you can reach out to the admin team, you can reach out to the lead tutor, or you can reach out on the WhatsApp group as well that you will be on. We typically deliver our lectures using Microsoft Teams, which is basically the same platform. So once you enroll, you will be profiled on the Microsoft Teams application. and you would have a virtual classroom where all the class materials will be uploaded. So we will give you materials, including the lecture slides and soft copies of other relevant materials. But as a CFA candidate, the moment you pay for your exams, you register for your level 1 exams, you will be given the soft copy of the CFA curriculum, which is basically your preparation material. Now, some candidates use that and use that alone. Some candidates use materials by other providers, which are a bit more summarized than the curriculum, because the curriculum is quite, there's quite a lot to get through in the curriculum, which is why some people also prefer tuition as well. Sorry, can we stay muted, please? Okay. Let me just mute this participant. Okay. Yes, so you get a soft copy of that. And if you need the hard copy, I think you pay a few dollars more, maybe $250 or so, to get the hard copy shipped to you wherever you are. And you can obviously use that to prepare for your exams as well. So, but we will give you a soft copy of materials, and then if you need hard copy, you can always order that from the provider. Okay, maybe it is good to take questions at this point before we start our panel session. So if you have any question, kindly raise your hand while I ask manager. Manager, are you ready? Are you able to project the timelines?
Yes. Good morning.
Okay. Okay. So any questions? Emmanuel, go ahead, please. Go for it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Please, I would like you to speak. I would like you to speak briefly on the international passport as one of the requirements.
Okay. Nothing special there. If you have your Nigerian passport, that's all you need. Or you're a citizen of another country, have the international passport of your country. Is there anything you want to know on that? That's just because that's the means of ID the only means of ID that CFA accepts. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I thought the exam requires traveling. That is why this requires.
Oh, no, not anymore. Not anymore. Many years ago you had to, but we have centers in Lagos, Nigeria now. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Banjoko, go ahead. Okay, sorry. Actually, that should be Oluwa Bukolami. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for taking us through those process. So I wanted to ask, I don't think I'm not sure if I heard anything like if your firm or should I say organization is like a fee attached to the classes and all. I really heard that if you want the hard copy. So I just want to ask, is this process that is it all free or there's a price attached to it? Thank you.
Okay, so let's take the costs one by one. So there is a fee you pay to CFA Institute, of course, which is the exam registration fee. And actually, they have scrapped, there's this initial registration fee and exam fee that you had to pay before, but I think they've scrapped one of it and you just pay a single fee. So the exam fee is $1,140 for early registration. That's for level 1 in 2026. But standard registration is $1,490. Okay, so paying early for your exam, 1,140. Standard registration, $1,490. If for any reason you want to reschedule your exam, for example, changing your exam window from, say, August to November, you pay $250, but that's not mandatory if you are taking the exam based on the time you have agreed. As I said, the materials will be sent to you, soft copy, based on those exam fee that you paid. But if you want the hard copy, you pay an additional $250. $250. And then you need to also buy a calculator, the financial calculator, typically Texas BA2 Plus calculator. And that is typically $40 to $50, depending on which model you go for. We will advise you on all of that. So that's pretty much for the fee you pay to CFA Institute. Then for tuition at Ivy League, our tuition fee is 400,000 naira. Okay, and that is for lectures for the 4 months that this is going to go on. And that is also for the materials you would also be getting, soft copy of the materials, which would include Shresa materials and the slides used by tutors. I think that answers your question on costs. Okay. Banjoko, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I want to ask this question. I don't know whether it's relevant. Given my background as a chartered stockbroker in Nigeria,
Yeah.
and having covered most of the topics in my CIS final stage, are there any exemption applicable to me for the CFA program? And would this impact specific levels or topics as a chartered stockbroker? So that's my question, sir.
Okay. Great question. Thank you, Banjoko. I used to say many years ago that I think that CFA Institute is one of the I want to choose my words carefully. It's one of those professional bodies that are that is very proud. You know, they are proud. Like there's no exemption basically. No, even if you have a PhD in finance. And I do not believe that that has changed. Okay, so everybody starts typically with level 1. So whether you have ACS, that's I believe that's the Standard Institute of Stockbrokers, or ACCA or whatever, everybody starts level. Or whether you are, you know, final level university students, we all start from level 1. Albert, go ahead, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the class. If I joined a bit late, so I wanted to ask, I think they've asked most of it, but I wanted to ask, are there scholarships for CS for the exam? And in terms of registration, is there assistance that your tutoring firm provides for those who want to register or those who are just thinking about navigating the whole CFA programs in terms of advice and all of that?
Yes. Manager, I see that you are having thumbs up. But yeah, there's scholarship and scholarship do vary. I know about the CFA Society in Nigeria as a scholarship program. And I think they even posted that recently. If you follow us on our Instagram page, I think that's something we plan to share over this weekend as well, because they recently announced the scholarship application for 2026. Yeah. So, but CFA Institute itself I am not, I can't advise, sorry, at this time on their scholarship arrangement, but I believe they may have one or more arrangements under that, which you can check online. Can we help you with what you need to register? Yes, we can give you any advice that you need. Just reach out to our admin team and they can give you the support that you need in that regard. Okay. I will take 2 more questions. We want to start our panel session by 10 o'clock. So I'm 1 minute behind schedule. So I'll just take 2 more questions and then we can take the other questions during the session. Onyechi, go ahead, please.
Hi, Jay.
Hi.
I wanted to confirm. Yeah, I wanted to confirm if we'll be getting these slides after this section.
So what we normally do is that we post the session on our YouTube page. So from there you can actually see it. But if you need the slide specifically, you can ask the admin team, because we did not ask participants to register wherein we have your data or anything like that, right? You probably just clicked the link and it brought you here. So, but if you need the slides specifically, if you are not comfortable with watching the video on our YouTube page, then just ask the admin team. They will be able to send it to you. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. So sorry, I have 2 more questions. Let me just be quick with this. The other one is I missed out on the cost of the tuition that you mentioned earlier, and I also wanted to know if Ivy League can assist their students to make payments to CFA for the exam, or if there's any assistance that we are going to be getting in registration and all that.
Yes, tuition fee is 400,000 naira. Support with registering for CFA exams and all of that, yes, we are happy to provide that. Okay, we are very, very available to do that. Sorry, is that your second question?
Yes, that's my second question.
Okay, yes. So
Okay,
there's a gentleman on this call, manager, so maybe you will speak now just so that people can put a voice to it, and if you're able to share your video as well. Is the manager for our CFA program, okay, and so he's able to help you with any support you may need as part of your registration, knowing more about the exams and any administrative issues, and even enrolling for lectures being set up on our LMS and all of that. Any other one?
So that will be all for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So final question for now. Amir, go ahead, please.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So my first question is that all the classes from Ivy League online? And my second question is it possible to pay monthly for the tuition fee?
Okay, so are all the classes online? Yes. For the August exams that we're preparing candidates for, all classes are online. Is it possible to pay monthly for tuition fee? I know we have an installment payment plan that has been approved. So kindly speak to a manager in respect of that. Okay. Yes. So manager, can you just take 3 minutes to talk through the timelines?
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, everybody, and once again, welcome to CFA Open Day. So what I have on my screen is actually the lecture plan for this session that will be starting today. So the class will start on the 14th, as you've seen, and it will run through May. We're going to run through May, then we have some time to take a break, reflect on what you've covered, identify areas where you probably will need your tutor support or the center support before we will start revision. So every weekend we have 7 sessions. On Saturdays, class will start by 9 a.m. till 11, the first class. The next 2 hours, we have an hour break. Then we'll go into the next 2 classes from 2 to 6 p.m. So different topics will be covered. If you look at what I have there, it is not something that, is the same thing around throughout the entire sheet. So some papers will finish early, while some will be finishing around that May. So we look at May 17 to terminate, to conclude standard lectures, like Mr. Shei said earlier on. Fridays are free for now. We don't think we'll have need, but Ivy League is one tuition center that is always willing to do that more to ensure that our students ace their exam. So if need be, we'll be having classes on Fridays in the evening after work. Then once we stop on the 17th, we have a break for another 2 weeks before we start the revision. The revision will start on the 30th of May and it will run through June 28th, which means you have about 6 weeks or thereabout to do your personal reading and then solve a lot of questions before the exam proper that will start between August 18th and August 24th. Once again, my name is Olumide Ebi Fredericks. I'm one of your go-to person at Ivy League. I'll be dropping my phone number and that of my colleagues on the chat, so you can reach out to us immediately after this meeting. And to let you also know that by 2 o'clock, the class will start. We will also like to share the class link with you for you to join the class, at least for today. Thank you very much, sir. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, manager. Thanks very much for that breakdown. Now, there is okay. So I think we can move to our next session. But then there are 2 things I would still also like to talk about, and maybe we'll take that as part of our panel session. So I would like to introduce my colleagues. I will start as I have it here. Osei Anao, who is a CFA charter holder. Osei, are you around?
Yes, I am around.
Okay, great. Fantastic. And then we have Oladimeji Oladosu as well. Dimeji, are you here?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone.
Okay, fantastic. And then we have Yemisi Olugbile as well. Hello, Yemisi. Okay, looks like we can't hear you if you are around. Okay, so manager, just help me see if you can reach out to her, because I noticed she was around earlier. All right, thank you. So Dimeji, also very nice to have you guys around, and thank you very much for accepting to come and speak at our open day. If you don't mind me starting with a little intro, can I just give you 30 seconds to 1 minute, just tell us about you, what you do, and how you got to know about the CFA program. Also, do you want to start?
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Currently, I head regulatory and financial reporting for Standard Chartered Bank. I'm also the CFO for the subsidiaries in Nigeria. My journey to CFA, but before then, I've been many things. I've been an internal auditor, I've been an external auditor, I've worked in an investment bank as a financial controller, I've worked as an FC in the bank as well, a small bank, regional bank. Well, my journey to CFA started in UBA, where I started my career in banking. It was pretty simple for me. I looked at the average time it took to get promoted, and I did the computation, and I realized that it wouldn't work. I needed something to accelerate my career, right? And I also looked at the trend in the market at the time. Financial instruments and derivatives were kind of coming into Nigeria. I realized that, you know what, the one qualification I know that will empower me by the time this thing becomes a big deal was CFA at the time. So that's why I aligned myself with CFA at that time. And yeah, and true to my prediction, these things are there are plenty in the market. So no regrets on from you on that one.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ese. Dimeji, go ahead.
Okay, hello everyone. It's good to be here. For me, at the moment, I currently run a firm where we provide a range of services, and I also serve as, let me say, part-time CFO for a couple of companies. How it started, I am a co-accountant on my own side. I work with KPMG, EY for a number of years. Then I went on to be head of finance for some companies, e.g. FMDQ. I also work with American Tower in the telecom space. Now, what brought me to CFA, my own, was at a point where financial instrument became a big deal in Nigeria. I wanted to understand more of financial instruments. Having gone through ICANN, gone through ACCA, I felt there was still a part that I think I need to explore more. And that was what basically led me to it. However, there's been a lot of impact of that on my career in terms of, how you get called every time. Once they see the CFA charter, mention of CFA program on your curriculum or your CV, so most times people want to even talk to you, even when you're not willing to talk to them. So like I said earlier, it has a significant impact on how you move in your career and how you move from one step to the other. So that's it from my side, basically.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the intro. Let me just check again. Is Yemisi around?
Yes, I've been here, but
Okay.
mine just wasn't working. Good morning, Shay. Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Yemisi. Good morning. How are you? Okay, so do you want to do an intro and how you got to know about CFA and why you started?
Okay. So my name is Yemisi Olugbile. I am a chartered accountant of the ACCA, and I'm also a CFA charter holder. For my experience in work, I've always been into finance. I started with ACCA. As a matter of fact, I started with ICANN. So I did ICANN. I have AAT in ICANN. When I finished the ICANN, we had gist that ACCA was better. So of course, after finishing AAT, then I jumped on ACCA. And also before finishing ACCA, getting to the professional level, we started hearing gist about, a professional certificate that can literally change your career progress. And that was CFA. And that I heard from a colleague then in my ACCA tuition center. She mentioned a guy that had maybe just passed CFA, a CFA level then, or maybe finished CFA, I can't remember clearly. But she mentioned, someone that had maybe just passed CFA or finished and became, hot cake in the market. And she mentioned the expected annual figure then. So I thought, this is wonderful because I also wanted, good money. So that was how I heard about EC and then CFA, and then I registered and got started.
So you actually started your CFA exams the moment you finished your ACCA?
Before finishing it.
So before finishing ACCA.
I still had some few papers left with ACCA then, but I started, started with CFA, and in fact got more serious with CFA than those other two papers that I have left.
Okay, interesting. Thank you, Yemisi. Okay, all right. So let's pivot into the preparation process and, of course, you guys have finished the 3 levels and all of that, and you can reflect on what the journey was like for you. So I will probably start with Dimeji. So I hear this thing about 300 hours. So there's this, guideline that sometimes even CFA institutes mention that, candidate needs to put in 300 hours for each level in terms of preparation for the exam. What was that like for you? Was it 300 hours? Was it up to that? Was it less than that? And you were probably working when you did, your CFA exam. So how did you achieve 300 hours if that was what it was for you? Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that question, Shay. I'd say for me, if I look back now, for that level 1, most likely it was more than 300. And at that time, I was working with a Big 4 firm, doing audits, and that means I was very, very busy. In addition to that, I also teach on the weekend. Shay, you can attest to that, right?
Yeah.
So weekend used to be also very, very busy. Now I look at my situation. Weekdays, not so controllable for me. Weekend, I still have a bit of control. So I divided it. So if I start 5 months in advance, I don't think I had up to 6 months from when I decided to write the exam and when I wrote the first one. That used to be when we're writing level 1 in December and level 1, 2, 3 in June, right? So from the time I made up my mind to when I was writing the exam should be like 5 months. So that means looking at the standard 60 hours, I had to put in 300 hours, I had to put in like 60 every month. So what I did was to do 1 hour every week, no matter how busy I am. I don't even know how that is going to happen, whether in the morning or in the evening, but minimum of 1 hour. So that means in a week, during the weekdays, 5 hours, then I can intensify my effort over the weekend. So I put in more effort over the weekend to read more. So at the end of the day, I would say I actually did more than 300 hours. I'd say that.
So you had to spread this over that period and be consistent at
Very
it.
consistent.
Wow.
Very, very consistent.
Yeah. And let me see sorry, Dimeji, go ahead. You want to say something?
Okay, go ahead, Shay.
So let me see, what was that like, the 300 hours for you? Was it more, was it less? And you had 2 exams you had to be preparing for, probably also working, probably also have a family. How did you combine that?
Yes. So for me, it was definitely more than 300 hours. And I can imagine why they usually use a 300 hours average, because if you're studying, it would still take you some time to get into deep concentration. So they probably not put those into consideration. So it then depends on how long it would take you. But maybe if you can automatically get into deep concentration level immediately, so maybe 300 hours, but it will always take you time. Your reading is not getting in. Maybe some people, it will take 30 minutes. So by the time you then gross it up by 30 minutes, 1.5, then you can see. So but for me, it was definitely more than 300 hours.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so that's it in terms of preparation. Does look like 300 hours is the starting point from what we have heard. Osei, you've been teaching the CFA program since you finished the exams. Based on your experience, what do you think are like the common pitfalls or common mistakes candidates make, especially when they're starting out at level 1?
Okay, I think one of the common pitfalls is the reality is you have to be on top of testable areas. That's the key word there, right? Testable areas, right? It is intimidating, 10 courses, right? Another thing you need to factor in, most of these candidates, if they wrote those 1 exams in the orthodox manner, write fixed income out today, go home and sleep, prepare for equity tomorrow, they'll pass, right? But people are not prepared to write 10 courses in 1 day. And the reality is people don't plan for that reality. Right, so you see common pitfall. They'll tell you they've read 10 courses, right? Fixed income, equity, derivatives, quants. By the time you get to quants and ask you fixed income, you've completely forgotten. Right, And then panic starts to enter and it starts to become, no, Schweizer is not good. It's curriculum that is good. But the real issue here is that you're not planning to write 10 courses. You have no plan for that, right? And I would say, and I always say this to students, right? The best way to not forget fixed income when I mentioned is to just keep solving questions. So what I used to do is, because when I started writing CFA, right, and I guess that's when I hacked it. I was in a bank, right, and I always say this: in financial control in the bank, you're only in control of when you resume. You don't know when you're going to close. So the only time I could study for that CFA was 2 hours, that's 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. That's it. Right, so I locked it there. So some days, like everyone else, I wake up in the morning and I'm not in a head reading space, to be honest, right? No matter how I try, but then I will solve questions, right? So there wasn't a wasted day. The days I didn't feel like reading, at least I'll go back and solve the fixed income questions and ensure that the testable areas are in my head. Now, keyword testable areas. I didn't say I went to read the whole book again. Oh, I said testable areas. Now it's easy to revise testable areas, and it's harder to reread a book because then you're congesting things you don't even need as well. Right. So what I would say to bring it home now is, number one is you need to prepare to study for 10 courses, right? To write 10 courses. And one of the things you need to do is, instead of going to reread fixed income, you could either jot while you're writing fixed income or have like QBank and just go there that day, just solve questions, right? It will come back to you. And secondly, you need to do mocks. The only way to touch everywhere at the same time is to do several mocks. That's the only way to touch all the testable areas. And the thing that with solving questions and mocks is, that's how you get insight into the testable areas. You just notice that every time you do this fixed income, they keep coming with discounted cash flow, forward price. That's an insight that, you know what, I need to master this thing. I'm not going to approach this exam without mastery of this, right? So that would be, the common pitfalls and how to resolve them, really.
Okay, thank you so much. Great nuggets there. I think of, and maybe Yemisi, you can help with this question. Now, you made the decision to write CFA. I think one of the things that must have incentivized you then was the hype and the prospects in terms of the numbers you said you saw. How has it impacted your career? I'm not sure if you are like in the core portfolio management or investment analysis. I mean, how do you, looking back, how has this really impacted your career in your view?
So for me, like I said, I have ACCA.
Yeah.
And so I've worked in private equity, investment banking, and corporate finance. So I can't really separate what, is coming from my ACCA background, which is also thorough, and what is coming for CFA background. But one thing that is certain is that CFA has a very high credibility. So once you have it, you become attractive in the job market. So I'm sure I've been able to attract, one or some of those opportunities because I was pursuing the CFA. And in the work itself, for me, CFA is not just about even the technical skills you gain from it, it's also the resilience. So those are all the things that I pick. So there is nothing you can bring in front of me. Honestly, I honestly believe that I can do any other course, no matter how difficult it is, because I've done CFA. I know it's just about time. I know it's, it may be difficult, but I know I can do it. So, those are the ways that I think it's really helped me.
Okay, great. Thank you. Dimeji, do you want to add to that?
Yes, which I mentioned briefly earlier. One thing I realized is that, like Yemisi said, you might not really be able to bifurcate what is coming from ACC, from CFA, but I realized that since I added the CFA charter, people want to talk to you. People reach out to you, headhunters, looking, we realize that you want to discuss this. People see your CV and they say, okay, I want to talk to him, especially because of the CFA charter. I've heard that a lot. So it opens that particular door. How you now utilize your opportunity when you step in there is now left to you.
Great. Okay. Also, there's usually this debate around MBA, CFA, and should I go for an MBA or should I do the CFA qualification? Do you have thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, yeah. So look, ultimately, I always say it depends on where you're going, right?
Yeah.
If you're on a pursuit of technicality, technical finance knowledge, CFA is better for you. If you are looking for a leverage that you okay, fine, you want to travel to another country and you want to pivot into another career. Now, what the reality is this: if you go and do a Harvard MBA, it may not be as intense as a CFA curriculum, but what it will do is it will give you a platform to apply to Merrill Lynch because they will come and do career fairs, right? Now, Merrill Lynch is not going to do a career fair in Lagos. Right. So that's just it. So it depends on what phase you are in your career and what you want. Right. If you're in a place where you need the platform of a serious network, like maybe MBA is it for you. But again, there's then the cost implication, right? An MBA is the MBA that will make a difference for you is significantly expensive. Right. And for the same knowledge, I mean, I used to find out that I used to tell people that look, I look at MBA curriculum. If you take out the finance part, the rest is like reading a novel. That's the reality. So technicality, CFA, but if you need leverage to enter Merrill Lynch or JP Goldman Sachs, an MBA in Harvard may be more instrumental for that. This is just my take.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the point on an MBA that is impactful because I think that's one difference. CFA program is CFA program. It only comes from the CFA Institute. An MBA comes from thousands of universities that have different levels of quality and recognition in the marketplace. So it comes down to which school you've gone to and what you really want to do. Focus on general management or focus more on some technical finance areas. Okay, great. Now, I think another question I have here. Now, I'm going to struggle with this a bit because I don't know whether any of my panelists have such a background. The CFA program allows you to come in, start level one, just like someone asked earlier on. I have ACS, I'm a charter stockbroker. Can I get exempted? I've done some of these things before. And I said, whether you have a PhD in finance or whatever, you start with level one. Now, that does mean that if I studied medicine or geography or agriculture in university, I can also start the CFA program. Is there anybody here who does not have a finance or accounting background before starting the CFA? Or maybe what you studied in school is different from finance and accounting, or you know a friend, for example, who just jumped into CFA without any finance and accounting background. Any challenges with that process? How did the person, pretty much navigate that journey? This is open now. Anybody who is happy to take it. Okay, yeah,
I did accounting in first degree, ACC, like I said, before moving into CFA, but I've come across a whole lot of people that were totally outside of finance that registered for CFA, and for whatever reason, honestly, they did so better than some of us that had, because maybe it's based on the fact that you think that, oh, you have accounting knowledge and you don't know what CFA is. So they already know what they are coming in to do. So from day one, they are at it, giving it all the energy that it requires. I have someone that, was an engineer. And in fact, he practiced as an engineer for over a decade, and he probably just got tired of that role and wanted to switch to main finance. And he was able to pass all the CFA levels. I think it was only level 3. He had to write 2 times. So I've seen a lot of them. I've also met a medical doctor as well. This is female, that was able to I think maybe just level 1, she was able to pass once. So usually they do well in it, for whatever reason. So if there's anyone that, even though you don't have an accounting background, and you're looking at registering for CFA, is something you should consider and give it a shot.
Okay, great. Thank you. Osei, I see your hand up. You can speak, please. Guys, if you have any question, please just raise your hand. if you have a question for our panel, just raise your hand as well, and because I'll be taking your questions next. Jose, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I have I know a number of people with non-finance backgrounds, right? Some even arts and English backgrounds, right? But the reality is CFA doesn't deploy more than board maths, division, multiplication, addition, really, right? So you'll be fine. But at this point, we need to differentiate between difficult knowledge and new knowledge, right? New doesn't always mean difficult. It's just new. You need to spend more time familiarizing with it, right? So I would say the only obstacle those people would have is new knowledge, not that the CFA curriculum is more difficult than what they've had to do before, right? So nobody has an advantage, really, right? At the end of the day, CFA is looking at the 70th percentile and everything. I promise you, if you don't come with hunger, you're not passing. That's just the truth. You have to come in hunger, and like she always says, discipline. Those two things come hand in hand, right? So you have to find a way for yourself, right? There's no advantage. Even if you are you have a finance background, accounting background, having to attain mastery in all 10 courses requires discipline as well.
Yeah.
Right. And remember, mastering them in a way that you haven't forgotten. That means you are on point in all 10 courses on a particular day. Right. That therein is discipline there. So yeah. So I would say, for me to conclude, I know a number of my friends that are non-finance people, and they aced it, right? And just because it came with hunger and discipline.
Fantastic. Key point. I love the distinction between new knowledge and difficult knowledge. It's not particularly difficult, it's new. So you have to approach it from that perspective. But then discipline has to drive that process. Dimeji, go ahead, please.
Okay. So, the focus of this question is on those without finance background. Yeah. I'll tell you, this question is actually more important to people with finance knowledge. Why? There is this pride that comes with, oh, I'm already ACCA. I have done ACCA, so I know a lot of these things already. You tend to ignore some areas that you're supposed to focus on. And let me use a specific example of myself. When I was writing level 1, I was teaching corporate reporting and financial reporting on the ICC. I was teaching it. So when it goes to FSA, it was more like, okay, there's nothing they want to put in this thing. I know it already. So I focus more on all the other, all the other topic areas. Then it was time for me to write mock. I passed everything else apart from FSA. The humility that came with that, like, no, what is happening here? I know all these things. So I had to go back to read them all over again and say, okay, now I understand what is happening. So it is not enough for you to say, oh, I've done this thing before. It's not enough for you to even be practicing it. You have to understand it the way CFA wants you to understand it. So you have to be humble. You have to unlearn certain things, then relearn new things. So when the MEC said some people without finance background are performing better, I'll tell you why. It's because of something like this. There is that pride that comes with, oh, I've done it before. I already know it. So yeah, let's keep that in mind.
Key point, very key point. Thank you, Dimeji. I did remember when I did level 1 as well. I just finished, similar to MEC, I just finished my final ACCA paper, and the next session I just took CFA level 1, and I didn't pay so much attention to FSA, as you said, financial statement analysis. And it was when it was getting closer to the exam, I realized that my score in that area is not as high as I expected. If I expected I would get everything in that area. But then I quickly realized they are not testing, do you know what the accounting standard says in this area and all of that, but it's really from an analytical perspective and implications and impacts that certain things may have. Okay, thank you very much for those responses. Bridget, do you have a question? So guys, if you have any question for the team, you can raise your hand, please. Bridget, go ahead, please.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My question is more of like a bit of a personal question, and it goes to the tutor or anybody really. So I know this class, this session is for August, right? But my exam is in May. I already enrolled and my exam is in May, but I'm having difficulty with some subjects, which is really why I'm considering taking a class. So far, I have been self-studying. I've done 6 topics by myself. So the remaining 4 topics are the ones that I am struggling with and I've been shying away from them. That is quant FSA, quant FSA, equity investment, and derivatives, right? So those are the ones that I've been avoiding since I enrolled and I've been self-studying by myself. So my main question is, as someone that's writing an exam in May, should I even be taking this August class? And it really depends on when these topics that I just mentioned would be taught in the class, if they will be taught in the class before May. That will really help with my decision on whether to
Okay,
enroll the class or not.
good point, Bridget, and I understand you clearly. I think this is something I would like to take outside this session, because you've actually kind of answered the question. It's a function of when those topic areas will start and end at Ivy League. So for example, I know FRA equity will probably end before the May exams. But one will need to check quant derivatives, because, for example, derivatives, I think we pushed it to the latter end. So let's take this outside this open day, and we can give you a more personalized advice, if that's okay. Adekunle, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, for me, I've been trying to do CFA. I think that's the best word. I've been trying to do CFA. I finished ACCA in 2024. And I just want to say thank you to you too, Mr. Shea, because you are one of the people that helped me during my ACCA journey. But what I want to do now, I'm this kind of person that I like to do self-study, right? I like to read way ahead of time. I understand. I don't like saying that an exam is difficult. I just like to say it's challenging. And based on what everyone has said, I understand that CFA can be quite challenging. So for me, I like to take my time to prepare. I can use 1 year to prepare for level 1. Now, because CFA is quite expensive, so what I like to do is get the study material and then start to self-study. I'll take my time. Then when I'm ready, I can now go for tutorial, just to add more knowledge to what I've learned and ensure that I'm 100% ready for the exam. So my question is there a way one can get the study material even before registering? So I can self-study.
I don't think that is a problem. Yeah. I think the general publicly available material, we are happy to make that available to you. So just speak to manager after the session. And what can work in your scenario is if you want to start reading now, that's fine. And then if you decide that you want to write the exams in November, our lectures for that will start in July. So you can decide to join that as well. How about, go ahead, please.
Hey, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I wanted to comment on the last question. I think I would actually advise he start the lecture and then get enough time to go back and reread, do revision, maybe practice questions before the exam instead of doing it the other way around.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually the ideal one. Yeah, do the lectures, have all the things you need, and then you can give yourself enough time to internalize all those things. Yes, agreed. I didn't realize it was you that was talking. I thought it was the participants. Okay, thank you, Yemisi. Albert, go ahead, please.
All right, good day to all the panelists and everyone here. So my question is in two formats. Format one is just spinning back from the last question. is it possible to take most parts of the lecture before you go ahead to do your registration with for the ACCA exam, to kind of see, because these exams are quite expensive, to kind of see where you are at in terms of readiness before paying for the ACCA exam. So if you're not ready, then maybe you just wait till when you're ready and then you proceed. That's one.
You mean CFA, yeah?
Yeah, CFA, sorry, CFA. The second question is, I've been an account professional for a while, and I've taken, I did I cannot ACCA. What are the real benefits in terms of, I know some persons have said they really can't distinguish the impact directly of ACCA versus their previous knowledge before now, CFAs, and maybe even where they had worked before, their experience in the past and that impact. But for someone like me, I graduated with a 2-2 result, and I'm like, okay, this is a very, very good opportunity for me to, further enhance or strengthen my marketability in terms of my career. Is CFA really that part to spend my time? Because apart from the money, it's the time you'll be putting into it. You could really use that to do a whole lot of other things. What are the real benefits, and how does it apply in terms of how does it really project one's career?
Okay, I have a couple of things to say on that, but I would allow any member of the panel who wants to take that. Osai, do you want to go for it? Okay.
Let me go first. See,
Okay.
you have to have where you're going. And that's when the vehicle that will be more effective. Right. So I'll ask you back, what do you want to do? Literally. Because if you tell me that your goal is to do internal audit, then I wouldn't really advise you to do CFA, really. Right. So, but if you want to have a career in finance, right, and be a rounded finance professional, right, then I'll tell you, okay, CFA is a strong qualification for this. Right. But what I will tell you from my own experience is it's more helpful when you set a goal for yourself. So that therefore the information you get from the world, you channel it towards that goal. Because if not, everybody will just dump on you, and 5 years later, you're still nowhere. Right? That's just food for thought. Right? I wasn't trying to answer your question. I was just trying to guide you in how to approach these things.
Yeah.
Right. Then the second thing I'll tell you is, you see, before I started CFA, every morning I wake up, tell my boss then, the CFO of UBA now, I'm writing CFA, but just, you see, the day I paid that money, the next day I started reading. Right. So if you don't commit yourself, trust me, you just roll over. Every year, revolving facility, next year. It's the day you commit yourself, that's when you know there's business here. And you ever notice this thing, right? So things you didn't understand closer to the exam, they'll start flowing. So there are things that, in your comfort zone, you can't replicate. That environment, comfort zone environment, you cannot replicate it. Just food for thought again. That's it for me.
Okay. Yeah. So let me just say something about that, because you mentioned a couple of things. So Saya has talked about objective. I think that's the overriding thing. What drives you? What do you really want to achieve? You talked about BSc, having a 2-2. I know we are in a market where, especially in Nigeria, where the degree classification often matters, perhaps to get enrolled into certain types of jobs. So if you will continue to remain in that market and you think, okay, the kind of jobs you need, they always ask for 2-1 or something, then you may have to find another means of resolving that, okay? But if that's not the issue here, and you're looking at what can I do to accelerate my career, what can I do to improve my knowledge, what can I do to make myself more competitive, as long as you are in this field of finance, the CFA qualification is very relevant, extremely relevant. See, the guys on the panel have talked about two things, and I think you need to pick that out really. One is respect. that comes with. So Osei was talking about CFO, ED risk of UBA. That's Ugo. Now, I used to work in consulting and did some work for UBA. This was IFRS conversion. Not really IFRS conversion, it was IFRS 9 implemented. IFRS 9 had to do with financial instruments. I could still remember making a presentation to go on a particular day because I was leading the project. And it was like, boy, I CFA charter order, tell us what we should do on this particular instrument that we have entered into. Do you understand it? I don't know where he saw it from because it's not like I put it on my profile or whatever. Maybe he saw it on LinkedIn, whatever, or knew it through some other means. But I remember those words, and it was because they entered into a swap with the central bank, and they were thinking about, okay, valuation of it. So why do they have to value it? It should really be in their books and things like that. So there's this respect that comes with it. There's this feeling of, Yemisi also said something. She said, I think I can, whatever comes my way, I can sort it out. Because you just believe you've gone through this very rigorous, process that has expanded your capacity, how you think, how you look at things. I started out my career in Nigeria. I didn't even know I was going to move to the UK. I'm in the UK, I work in the private equity and asset management sector. I'm still in consulting, right? But whether it is PE firms that want to list, whether it is PE firms that are engaging in cross-border acquisitions, whether it's divestments and all of that, I remember there was a day I was dealing with a particular issue and I had to go back to some of the resources I used at CFA level 3 to actually remember how we valued certain items. The theoretical understanding of how a particular derivative was valued. Do you understand? So you never know where you will meet it. You never know what will happen. I did it then when I started CFA because I actually wanted to move into core, analyst role, portfolio management and all of that. But it never happened. I continued to enjoy what I was doing in consulting. I focused on financial institutions. The knowledge of CFA still helped me. I moved to the UK, went into private equity and asset management. Whatever I've learned during that period continues to help me. Do you understand? So I don't think you should just look at it from the perspective of, oh, if I do it now, what's the immediate impact? Do you understand? It's really about the long-term trajectory of your career. Do you want to remain in finance? Do you want to be respected? Do you want to broaden your knowledge and understanding of things? I really do respect this qualification in that regard. Okay, so those are my thoughts on that area. I will take 2 more questions, and luckily we only have 2 hands raised, and we will end there. Amaka, go ahead, please. You're on mute if you're speaking.
Yes, sir. Thank you, everyone on this call. So just a quick one. You mentioned instrumental payments for the tuition. So please, how do we go about it? Thank you.
Yes. So just speak to manager, the individual that I think is not also here. Yes. This number's just reach out to them. They'll be able to advise on that. Okay. Obalulua, go ahead. You're on mute if you're speaking.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
So my question is pertaining to the exams. Like, how many questions for each course? So is it like 10? Like, so there are 180 questions. So is it like 10 or 18 questions for each course because there are 10 courses, or is it dependent on the weight of the courses?
Yes, it's dependent on the exam weight. Yeah. And there's no fixed percentage. As you can see, it's a band. All right. Final advice. 30 seconds. Yemisi, do you want to go first? Then Dimeji, then Osei.
If there's anyone thinking of joining CFA or thinking of going doing finance, I would recommend that CFA is highly recommended, very credible certification, and it's very broad. So even if you're not certain of the facet of finance that you're going to focus on, like Osei said, once it's not audit, I would advise you go for it. It's broad. It would cover accounting, equity, derivatives, alternative investments, strengthen your ethical values. And if it's already crossing your mind, there is nothing that comes easy in life. If it's already crossing your mind, endeavor to see how you can get the registration done, even if you are not certain of when you will do the exam. Register for it. As long as you can start the lecture, and then maybe after that you can decide when you want to go for the exam. I wish everybody all the best. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Yemisi. Really appreciate you today. Dimeji?
Okay. So from my side, I will say, if you have decided to go this route, you have to stay consistent. All right. For some people that are very, very busy or that have enough resources, consistency might require some motivation. At the time some of us wrote this exam, the money was a lot for us, right? I'm sure it's still a lot for so many people. So consistency was natural. Immediately we paid for the exam. You had no choice than to be consistent because you didn't want to write it again. For someone like me, I knew I wasn't going to write the second time. So if you have decided to take CFA, I think it is a qualification you are never going to regret, even if you stay in any part of finance, whether it is even core audit. I'll tell you, it's going to be very useful and very relevant. And look at the example Sheyi gave. He had to go back, to reference some things when our career took him to somewhere it became useful. I'm sure if Sheyi should look back 10 years ago, I'm not sure he would anticipate what is happening at the moment. He had a different plan. So sometimes you are not exactly where you plan. But if you have the opportunity to take this, do it now. I'm sure you won't regret it. Take care, everyone.
Dimeji, thank you so much. Really helpful. Thank you. So go ahead.
So for me, I think at this point we won't question the return on investment on CFA. It's the return. It's very good. The question now is you. It's a worthy journey that's been established, but are you ready for the journey? And with all things worthy of being achieved in life, and that will set you apart, it will require commitment and discipline and some sacrifice. Right. Yeah, so you need to be ready for this. It's not impossible, and I'll use myself as an example here. I'm a highly social person, right? It didn't mean that my whole social life shut down, right? I was able to balance it, but with the right focus, discipline, and you have the benefit of a tutor like Ivy League, right? I think it's very doable. You just need to commit in the right way. That's all.
Thank you, Osei. It's been great listening to you all. Thank you for the contribution. I will just want to quickly play a short video, and that relates to the practical skills module that was recently introduced into the CFA program. And what this means is that at the end of each level, there are some modules you will need to take, which are like web-based learning. They are not graded, but you are required to do it before you can get your results. And there are different options across each of the levels.
Practical skills modules give you the real-world skills that make it happen. Check it out. Hello, and welcome to Inside the CFA program. Today, I want to talk about one of the recent enhancements to the CFA program, Practical Skills Modules, or PSMs. The CFA program has always been about preparing candidates for success in the investment profession. PSMs take this a step further. They bridge the gap between knowing something in theory and applying it in practice, much like the difference between reading about how to drive a car and actually getting behind the wheel. We regularly hear from employers, regulators, and industry leaders. And one theme that comes up again and again is that new hires are expected to be desk ready from day one. PSMs help bring us closer to that desk readiness by giving candidates a chance to practice applied skills. And that way, they're ready to contribute immediately in the workplace. Each PSM takes about 10 to 15 hours and must be completed before you receive your exam result. You only need to complete one, although you are welcome to explore more. The modules cover practical, in-demand skills. At level 1, you might build a 3-statement financial model in Excel, or you might dive into Python, where you'll use coding to analyze data and create visualizations. At level 2, you can sharpen your equity research techniques by practicing how top analysts frame and present their findings, or you can dive deeper into Python. And at level 3, you could explore portfolio construction, applying optimization tools to create diversified strategies. Or you might choose a PSM that more closely aligns with your specialized pathway. The PSMs aren't graded, but they are essential. They give you hands-on experience that bring the CFA curriculum to life. And that helps you stand out in interviews, and it builds confidence that carries into your career. We hope you find them both challenging and rewarding as you move closer to earning your CFA charter. To make sure you don't miss a single episode, make sure you hit subscribe.
Okay, I think we have now come to the end of the open day, but I see that I have 2 hands up. I will be willing to take your questions. And manager, correct me if I'm wrong, for this weekend, I think people can basically join the class once they have the link to the classroom. Is that correct?
Affirmative, sir. You should just pick our number on the chat and then reach out to us.
Okay, so the numbers, any of these 2 numbers here, you can reach out to them by call or WhatsApp, and any other administrative questions you have on payment, registration, when class will start, and all those things. They will be very happy to help. Gloria, go ahead, please.
Okay,
Gloria,
good morning.
okay, go
My
ahead.
question is, the 180 questions, is it objective?
Yes, all MCQs. Yeah.
Okay. Is it the same for all levels?
No. Level 2, I think those are based on Vignet questions or item set questions, where you would have a short case and then you would have MCQ questions attached to those short cases. Level 3 is more of theory. You will be constructing portfolios, creating client brief, advising on how to structure their portfolio and all of that. So that is more of written than MCQs. Okay. I think level 3 afternoon session may have item set questions as well. But yeah, level 3 is not MCQ as level 1, for example. Oluwatobi, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Good day, everyone. So I just wanted to ask if the payment breakdown, if it can be shared or probably projected in terms of the registration and the tutor fee. So yeah, just to reaffirm the payment breakdown. Thank you.
Okay, so again, you can always ask the gentleman that will pick your call or WhatsApp those numbers. I had earlier said that level 1 exam fee that is payable to CFA Institute is $1,140 for early registration, and standard registration is $1,450. That comes with the CFA curriculum as well. The lecture fee at Ivy League is $400,000, and if you want to discuss payment terms, you can discuss that with the admin team. Okay. Looks like that is the final question for today. Thank you very much for joining our open day. I do hope you found it useful. We will post this video on our YouTube page, and so you can go through it again if you need to. And if you have any questions, as I've said, you can follow us on our social media pages, as you can see here, and also send a message or call any of those numbers that we have there. We hope to have a wonderful time and provide the necessary support you will need as you journey through the CFA program. Thank you and have a lovely weekend. It's quite interesting that we have decided to start lectures on Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine to everyone.
What time is the lecture starting today?
2 p.m. 2 p.m.
Happy Valentine.
What time is the lecture starting today?
2 p.m. today. 2 p.m. 2 p.m. please.
By 2.
Just
Okay.
yeah, you can check the chat box on this call. There are 3 numbers there. Please reach out. We'll send you the link. Then we'll have your details. You can communicate further from there.
Thank you, Shay.
Chat box, nice. I can't chat on the. I've put the phone number on the WhatsApp number. I can't chat on this chat box.
Yes, just copy the numbers and then reach out to us via the number.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, man.